Everything is an opportunity that occurs in your life with every experience, circumstance, thought, emotion. These are all opportunities to grow spiritually. Everything offers an opportunity to multisensory individuals to make responsible choices consciously. What are you going to choose? And when you look at those options, you only have two: love or fear. Everything that you experience at every moment is a karmic necessity. It's not random. And it has nothing to do with the person that appears to have caused this in your life, whether it was a betrayal or a gift. It has to do with internal dynamics in you. And that's why trying to change the world to make yourself feel better, it's not going to happen, because the world isn't creating your emotions. The world is activating an internal dynamic in you. And when you look at that internal dynamic and change that, you change. That's your opportunity. And everything you experience, have experienced, and will experience gives you that opportunity to choose to grow spiritually or not. Welcome back. The topic today is everything is an opportunity. Now, the question I have for you is, opportunity for what? What is it that everything is always offering you an opportunity for? Is it to get the girlfriend you want, the boyfriend you want, the new apartment? Is it to go to Europe? Is it to get a scholarship? Is it to be very wealthy by the time you're 32? Is it to find a place out of your tent that you're living in on a sidewalk on the street somewhere? Is it any of those things? The short answer is no. Everything is an opportunity that occurs in your life with every experience, circumstance, thought, emotion. These are all opportunities to grow spiritually. Growing spiritually means becoming aware, emotionally aware. Growing spiritually means making responsible choices. That's not a choice that somebody told you to do and now you're responsible for doing it. No one told you to do anything. It is an opportunity to make a choice that will create consequences for which you are willing to assume responsibility. In one way, you are responsible for all of your choices, whether you're aware or you're not. But every circumstance, everything offers an opportunity to multisensory individuals to make responsible choices consciously. That means to become a master in your life, because when you choose the intention behind a word or a deed, it creates consequences, and you are the one that experiences those consequences. So what kind of consequences do you want to experience? Unhealthy, destructive, painful, empty, meaningless? You can. Choose to act from fear. Choose to act when you're angry or jealous or resentful or overwhelmed. Or you can't stop thinking about eating, drinking, sex, gambling. Or you're obsessed with a thought. Or you're in the grip of a compulsion. Act on that and look at what you create. Or you can choose, while you're feeling any of these things, to put your attention onto a part of your personality that was loving and loved when you were in it. In other words, a time when you knew that you were loving or loved. Could have been with a grandparent, could have been with a beautiful neighbor, could have been with a grandchild. And then choose to act from that energy while you're experiencing the energy of a frightened part. That's creating authentic power. And choosing to do that responsibly, choosing to do that consciously, is a responsible choice. If you don't know what your intention is, it's coming from fear. Every unconscious intention. That means every time you speak or act and you don't know why you're doing it, it's coming from fear. It's coming to please somebody or to manipulate somebody or to change the world, to make a frightened part of your personality feel better. Whoa, think about that. How many times have you spoken or acted without knowing why you were doing it, without really knowing why? Well, that was creating with fear. And that's what most people do, almost all the time. And most people are encountering those consequences, the same people, all the time. And whenever they do, they think, how is this happening to me? How could this be happening? Why is this happening? I didn't intend that. When actually you did intend it, but you weren't aware of what you were intending. You weren't aware of the intention you were holding when you said it and you held it. So all of that's a part of creating authentic power. Authentic power is love. Love is the real deal. It's the only thing that's real. That's why pursuing love, not pursuing it, but being aware of it, acting in it, experimenting with it, will take you places you want to go. Fulfillment, joy, meaning, purpose, creativity, vitality. And acting in fear creates the opposite. Everything in the Earth School, every moment, serves one purpose, and that purpose is your spiritual development. When you realize that, then you start to use all of the circumstances that the Earth School provides you, all of the thoughts that you're thinking, all of the impulses that used to control you, and you look at them consciously, and you choose among them those that will create the consequences that you want to encounter. You might look at it this way. Everything that you experience at every moment is a karmic necessity. It's not random. And it has nothing to do with the person that appears to have caused this in your life, whether it was a betrayal or a gift. It has to do with internal dynamics in you. And these internal dynamics are bringing your attention to a part of your personality, either loving or frightened. And if it's frightened, you can look at it. You can put an arm's length between you and this part of your personality and realize it's that. It's a part of your personality. It's not the unchanging ground of your being that's angry or resentful or competitive. And that's why trying to change the world to make yourself feel better is spinning your wheels. It's not going to happen because the world isn't creating your emotions. The world is activating an internal dynamic that is. And when you look at that internal dynamic and change that, you change. That's creating authentic power. That's learning how to choose love. Well, of course, everybody in the New Age knows you got to choose love, but how do you do it when a frightened part of your personality is active? That's what you're learning to do as you learn to create authentic power. And everything that you encounter helps you. Now, I don't mean almost everything. I don't mean there's about 5 or 10 minutes here and there that don't really mean anything. You have experiences and they don't remind you, they don't help you grow spiritually. I don't mean that. I mean every moment, every second, from the time you enter the Earth School until the time you leave it. That's the nature of the Earth School. That's where you learn love. And you learn the most important, fundamental step in growing spiritually, which is choice. And you are that. I don't mean you have choice. I don't mean it, you make a choice. I mean you are choice. You are a chooser. You are a powerful and creative, compassionate, and loving spirit. You can't not choose. That's what you are. It's what you do. You can say, well, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to choose not to. That's a choice. Now, your options are not to choose or not to choose. Your options are, what are you going to choose? And when you look at those options, you only have two, love or fear. These are qualities of consciousness. This is the nature of the Earth School. When you choose to act with one of these qualities of consciousness or the other, you infuse the one you chose into your word or your deed. That's the nature of the Earth School. It's a continual infusion of energy at the point of choice into your life. It's the moment when karma is created, put it that way. It's the moment when energy becomes matter, you can put it that way. It's the moment when one of a multitude of possible realities available to you drops into place, you might say, in your life, and becomes your reality. That's how powerful your choices are, whether you're aware of them or you're not aware of them. That's why it's good to be aware of them, because now you can choose between love and fear, and you can choose to create with love. There's no drama about this. There's no fanfare. You don't walk down a red carpet and get praised because you decided to choose love. It's simply a choice of different consequences. You didn't like the consequences you were creating before, and now you're choosing to create different consequences. It's as simple as that. However, the frightened parts of your personality are attractive. They don't just float there waiting for you to decide whether you're going to use one or not to create your reality. They are magnetically attractive. When you're angry, for example, you are magnetically attracted to expressing your anger, to telling the other person what's wrong with that person and why it's wrong with them and why they ought to change. And behind all of that is the internal dynamic in you that we've been calling a frightened part of your personality that's creating painful consequences. And when you put a distance, an arm's length between you and a frightened part of your personality, you can see this is an opportunity for you to create with love, for you to create the kind of consequences that you want to create. Oh, here, I just thought of this. You can put it, I thought of it before, but I just thought of it now. The golden rule: do unto others what you would have them do unto you. That's a 5-sensory way of looking at the golden rule. That's appropriate because it was given to a 5-sensory species, but you're a multisensory. You are multisensory. You're part of a multisensory species. And you can say or articulate the golden rule much more accurately. Intend for others what you want others to intend for you. Is your intention for others to exploit them emotionally, financially, sexually? Is it to get something from them? Is it to use them in some way to make a frightened part of your personality feel better or safer or more secure? How would you like others to intend that for you? Oh, that's a different picture, isn't it? Not hardly. Well, that's what you do when you choose unconsciously. You're intending. You're setting an intention, and that intention is either love or fear. So can you see why all of this serves your spiritual growth? Your spiritual teacher is not worried or concerned, but if they don't worry, they're not concerned with, and they're actually not concerned about anything, but they love. They are wise. They are impersonal energy dynamics. And their focus is supporting you and growing spiritually. They can't do it for you any more than anyone in the earth school can grow spiritually for you, because only you know what your intentions are, and only you can change them. Only you know what you're thinking. Only you know what you're experiencing in your energy processing centers in terms of physical sensations. In other words, only you know what you're feeling. And only you can make decisions affecting any of those. And you're the only one that can. And if you choose not to do it, that's a choice. And you're choosing consequences for which you are not willing to assume responsibility because you won't like them when they arrive. So what I was saying is that your non-physical teachers are not focused on your bank account, your romantic life, your home life. They're not focused on the car you're living. They're not focused on where you're sleeping, whether it's on a sidewalk or it's in a penthouse. They're focused on your spiritual growth. And there is nothing that you will see around you in the earth school that does not serve the person that's experiencing it. You do not know when you see someone on the street asking for a handout whether that person is a soul that's choosing to experience the same circumstances from an entirely different perspective than he or she experienced it in a previous incarnation. You do not know enough about these things. And this doesn't mean that you can be callous to someone who's standing by a freeway off-ramp with a cardboard sign. It means you recognize them as human like you are. It's cold out there, or it's too hot out there in the sun, or you don't know where your next meal is going to come from. So what are you going to do? Are you going to say anything and do anything? Are you going to give them some money? If you give them some money, what's your intention? Is it to make yourself feel better? To make yourself feel like a generous person? Do you like it when people see you giving some money to a homeless person? Because then they have an impression of you as a generous person? All of that is fear. If you're giving whatever it is, a word, a bill, from your heart, that creates different consequences for you. And the same with the person who's receiving. Are they judging you? They're creating consequences for themselves and living those consequences. In other words, you cannot judge what you see. You can, but you don't know enough to judge. You don't know what's coming to conclusion, what lines of force are converging and intention are converging, perhaps across centuries, into that moment when you encounter that person, homeless or coming out of his penthouse. That does not mean that there's no judgment in the Earth School. There is judgment. It's non-judgmental justice. That is something that you do not need to involve yourself with, except that you choose whether to judge or not, and put yourself into the same process of non-judgmental justice, which means that you are always encountering karmic necessities as they flow into your life and choosing to respond with love or react with fear as you attend to the loving parts of your personality. One of my favorite psychologists when I was in school is named William James. William James was an American psychologist that wrote in the late 1800s, 1890s. He was a contemporary of Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung. And he said something that I've always remembered. He said, when you are seeing what I'm describing to you now, you realize that no wind can blow that does not fill your sails. What wind is blowing now in your life? And what sails in you is it filling? Is it showing you parts of your personality that are creating in fear and therefore painfully? Is it showing you parts of your personality that are creating in love and therefore blissfully? Is it freeing you to make your choices consciously? It's always filling your sails. So don't just hope for good wind to come. You say, the trade winds have got to come up again. It's already 12 o'clock and they come up every day at noon. And we've got to sail in this direction. You're going to sail in the direction the winds blow you. And those winds are always taking you to another 5 sensory experience that requires choice. That's your opportunity. And everything you experience, have experienced, and will experience gives you that opportunity to choose, to grow spiritually or not. Not to get praised if you grow spiritually, or be condemned to an unpleasant reality. If you don't, you simply don't change, which means you stay in the unpleasant reality that you're in, which is created continually by frightened parts of your personality. If you're enjoying anything you're hearing on this podcast, subscribe to it. Now, what do I mean by enjoy? Do I mean, is it entertaining for you? Does it make you laugh? Does it make you forget your worries? That's not what I mean. I mean, do you resonate with anything that I say as relevant, profound, and pertinent for you, not for the world, for you? Something that you can use, something that you can experiment with in your life. If you do, if you resonate, then subscribe, because there's more where this comes from. It comes from the universe, as do you. Now I'm going to give you a soul step to take. Look at your experiences today, this morning, this evening, now, whenever you're experiencing, which is always now, and look at what it is activating in you, a frightened part or a loving part. Whatever it's activating in you, you can learn from. Learn what? Learn to love. Learn to infuse energy with love. Learn to infuse your words and your deeds with love. Learn to create the consequences of love, or the opposite. These are your opportunities. How are you going to use them? It's been a joy to speak with you again, and I'm looking forward to being with you next time. I'm Gary Zukav.